Thando, the one who carried the rain. Thando was born in the early 1860s, in a pre-colonial age when the land still listened to its people and the people still feared the sky. He came into the world during a full moon eclipse, when the moon swallowed the sun's reflection and turned red with Earth's shadow. The elders later whispered that the heavens had bled that night. When he emerged, small and quiet, his skin glowed softly in the crimson light. He was named Thando, meaning love, in the mother tongue, though no one yet understood how heavy a name it would be. The moment he cried, the sky broke open. Rain fell upon a land that had been thirsty for decades. Dry sand drank greedily. The ancient Orange River, long reduced to a memory, swelled, surged, and returned to itself like a living ancestor remembering its body. But blessings are not always welcomed. Thando was born male, yet his features were delicate, his limbs slender, his face unmistakably feminine. His mother, Nkosi, fertility, died shortly after giving birth, taken by complications that left the heart silent and heavy with grief. His father, Bomba, the village blacksmith, was not there. Bomba was known for two things, shaping iron and breaking himself with drink. When he returned and saw the child, he did not see rain or renewal. He saw loss. He blamed Thando for Nkosi's death, and from that day forward, the boy lived beneath a shadow forged of guilt and resentment. A year before Thando's birth, another child had arrived in the village. Nkosi, meaning God, was born into a powerful matriarchal line. By the age of 1, he was already fearless, grabbing reptiles, chasing rodents from the bush, laughing where others cried. His birth was celebrated. His future was assumed. Where Thando's arrival was met with whispers, Nkosi's was met with songs. 2 boys, 2 fates. By 16, Thando had already lived many lifetimes of pain. His father beat him when drunk, blaming him for everything that had gone wrong. Half of Bomba's earnings vanished into beer. Thando wore oversized, threadbare clothes on his frail, underfed body. Bomba's new wife worked him endlessly on farms, squeezing survival from dust. Nkosi, now 17, had become everything the village admired. A skilled hunter. A warrior. Broad-shouldered, strong, glowing with authority and promise. Though not beautiful like Thando, his presence commanded respect. Prestige followed him like a shadow. He had already paid bride wealth and married Molly, the most beautiful girl in the Karu, the daughter of a counselor, after impregnating her. His future was secure. One season, while returning from the fields, Thando crossed paths with Nkosi and his fellow hunters. Nkosi laughed first. "Look at our infamous blacksmith's son," he mocked. "Drunkard's blood. Failure like his father, though worse. You, Thando, when will you finally admit you're not a man and deflower a woman?" The hunters shoved Thando to the ground, laughing as his harvest spilled from his basket. Nkosi kicked it aside. But as they walked away, Nkosi's eyes lingered. There was something else there, conflict, curiosity, something protective that flickered and vanished. Later that day, Thando walked to the river. He prayed to ancestors he barely knew, to a mother he had never met, asking only to join her. That was when Nkosi found him again. Nkosi placed a hand on his shoulder. Thando flinched, and that flinch cut deeper than any blade. "Why are you so soft?" Nkosi asked quietly, in a world that demands hardness. Their words drew them closer. Breath mingled. The river listened. They kissed. Footsteps approached. Fear exploded into violence. Nkosi struck Thando, accusing him of corruption, of trying to change him, calling him an abomination. That night, the village gathered. They shamed Thando publicly. Stones struck his body. Rotten crops, cow dung, fists, boots. Nkosi beat him too, harder than the rest. And then the rain stopped. For months, nothing grew. The healers failed. The prophets failed. The people grew desperate. Rumors spread, started by Mboli's mother and Nkosi's own, that Thando's man-wrapped ways had angered the spirits. That his refusal to marry, to conform, had cursed the land. The mob returned. They beat him again, dragged him through filth, until he collapsed bleeding in the village center. His father was nowhere to be found. The elders convened. Thando was banished. Cast beyond the village border, forbidden to return. He walked until his body could no longer carry him, until broken limbs and despair dropped him before a forgotten hut. Momomboli. The woman who opened the door had obsidian eyes. Her name was Momomboli, flower. Shone 200 years ago for her spiritual power, she had not aged a day. She saw Thando once and knew. For 7 days he slept. When he woke, the hut breathed with herbs and smoke. Shrines of red and black stone curved like an unfinished moon. Buffalo skulls watched in silence. You are not a curse, she said. You are fertility itself. She trained him for 5 years. He learned herbs, roots, rhythms. The flow of magnetic fields. How desire becomes creation. How abstinence stores power. How he was both bridge and balance, masculine and feminine entwined. His womb, spiritual, energetic, fully awakened. When Momomboli finally led him to the waterfall, the water bowed to him. I have done my part, she said, and vanished into the river. The dying village. 2 years after Thando's banishment, the Karo was dying. No rain. No calves. No children. The last infant born, Nkosi's son, was wasting away. The chief sent warriors to seek Momomboli. Nkosi went with them. They found the hut humming with river songs. Nkosi knelt and begged, but the door closed. What Nkosi did not know was that it was Thando who stood behind it. That night, Thando returned alone, guided by a desert wolf. He healed the children with medicine, ritual, and the earth's own current. Nkosi's son opened his eyes. For 1 moon cycle, Thando stayed, silent, distant, healing. He prepared the full moon festival, the one that had not been held in years. The rain returns. The fire had grown into a living thing. Its flames rose high and bright, snapping and curling like tongues speaking a language older than words. Sparks lifted into the night and vanished into the black sky as though being swallowed by unseen ancestors. Around it, the village stood hushed, no laughter, no whispers, only breath and waiting. The moon climbed steadily, swollen and pale, carrying the weight of memory. When Thando emerged from the darkness, the air itself seemed to shift. He wore primitive garments, layered beads draped across his chest like cascading rain, strands numerous enough to cover his torso yet loose enough to sway with every breath. A small animal skin rested low on his waist, barely concealing the soft curve of his hips and the fullness of his thighs. His body bore the markings of ash and sage, grey patterns like smoke rising from a dying fire, drawn with intention, not decoration. His presence unsettled the people. Some stepped back instinctively. Mothers pulled children closer. Hunters tightened their grips on spears without realizing why. Even the elders, men who had seen wars, famine, and death, felt something press against their chests. The wolf circled the perimeter of the gathering, silent, eyes glowing, a living boundary between Thando and the village. Then came the drum. Njabulo, Nkosi's closest companion, struck it once. The sound did not merely echo, it entered. It passed through bone and blood and memory. Conversations died instantly. Even the fire seemed to pause, its flames bending inward as if listening. Another beat. Thando stepped forward. With each strike of the drum, his feet met the earth, first a stomp, firm and deliberate, grounding himself. Dust rose around his ankles, clinging to his skin like recognition. The rhythm changed. His body followed. His hips twisted slowly, deliberately, rolling with the drumbeat. His waist loosened, shaking in controlled pulses that mirrored the unseen currents beneath the soil. His arms lifted, curved, and flowed, fingers tracing symbols in the air, invocations without language. The fire responded. It burned brighter, hotter, stretching upward as if trying to touch him. One by one, the healers joined him, echoing his movements. Their feet struck the ground harder, faster, kicking dust skyward. The dust rose and hung in the air, forming a hazy veil through which the flames glowed like a second sun. Women joined next. Then hunters. Their bodies surrendered to the rhythm. Eyes rolled back. Some cried. Some laughed without knowing why. The dance consumed them, not celebration, not performance, but possession. Njabulo was no longer drumming. The drum was drumming through him. By the time the moon reached its peak, the night had changed. A cool wind swept across the Karoo. A sound rippled through the crowd, gasps, murmurs, disbelief. No wind had touched their skin like this in years. The air smelled different. Wet. Alive. One of the elder healers dragged the bull forward, whispering ancient words that had not been spoken since childhood's long buried. With a single, clean motion, the blade flashed. Blood struck the ground. Women cried out, clutching their wombs as something stirred within them, heat, ache, awakening. The copper bracelets on their wrists hummed faintly, vibrating with the earth's magnetic pull, redirecting energy long blocked by fear and cruelty. Clouds gathered overhead. Low at first. Then thick. Thunder rolled, not from the sky, but from the drum itself. A single drop of rain struck Nkosi's face. He froze. Another drop followed. Then another. The sky opened. Rain poured down, heavy and relentless, soaking the earth, extinguishing the fire in a hiss of steam. The final goat was sacrificed beneath the downpour, and the rain intensified, as though the sky itself were weeping with relief. People screamed with joy. They danced, slipped, fell, rose again. Some ran for shelter as thunder cracked violently overhead. Others remained, arms lifted, mouths open, drinking the rain as if afraid it might vanish. And then, just as quietly as he had come, Thando turned away. Departure. He walked back to the old storage unit where blacksmith tools once rested, now his temporary shelter. His body was exhausted, but his spirit remained sharp. He packed methodically, herbs bundled carefully, roots wrapped in cloth, ritual tools cleansed and secured. He was ready to leave before dawn. He could not stay. The village held too much memory, too much pain pressed into the soil. Then came the knock. He opened the door. Nkosi stood there, drenched, trembling. Rain plastered his hair to his face. His chest rose and fell erratically. Tears mixed with water until they were indistinguishable. He collapsed. Sobs tore from him, raw, animal sounds, stripped of pride, stripped of rank. Thando did not move. Nkosi crawled forward and wrapped his arms around Thando's waist, pressing his face against him like a child seeking safety. "I am sorry," Nkosi choked. How did we get it so wrong?" Thando's voice was calm. Flat. "I did what you asked. I healed your land. Your people. Please," Nkosi begged. "Stay. Or tell me how to make this right. I will do anything." Thando gently but firmly pushed him away. "There is nothing more you can do." He slung his bag over his shoulder. Nkosi remained on the ground, rain soaking into the dirt beneath him, watching as the one person he had both desired and destroyed walked away. Outside, the wolf waited. Thando whistled once. Together, they disappeared into the storm. What the village never knew. The rains continued. Crops returned. Women conceived. Children were born strong. But something was missing. The land flourished, but the village never truly healed. Nkosi lived long, but his eyes were always searching the horizon. And far beyond the Karoo, wherever the earth cracked or wombs fell silent, stories began to spread. Of an androgynous figure walking beneath eclipsed moons. Of rain following soft footsteps. Of love carrying both creation and destruction in the same breath. And so, the story did not end. It only began walking.